7. Okay, okay, okay. I mean, we got a good amount left to read. It's been like 2 time skips here. We are good. We got some stuff to read tonight. We good. He's probably gonna be right there. But yeah, we in a real good place, man. This is a good place to stop. If I keep reading, I'm not getting to this tonight. So I'm gonna stop right there. And then we'll continue on after the stream. Alright. I should put my phone on silence. There we go. Mhm. Okay, got a lot to work with here. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where? Oh, jeez, I remember that. That was not a fun day. All right, there we go. Let's see here. Ooh, I remember that. It's actually pretty good. We don't need this right now. Or this. There we go. All right, I'll take this. Yes, you can discard that. Now go back to where I need to go to. There we go. And then we're right here. And then we're right here. There we go. There we go. There we go. Right. Looking good. Looking good. Yeah. I knew you were going to ask for that. Oh, no. That means I got to. Yep. Got to fix that. There we go. All right. We are good. Let's get it going. All right. Feeling good. Got my blue shirt on and everything. You know what? I'm gonna be vibing tonight. Let me start this off with some positivity here. You know, I could take the Watto. What should I go with? Got the Sandai Katetsu here. I could do that. You know what? It's purple. It's vibing. No, whoa. Chill. Let me take Enma. Let me take Enma. Okay. Let me start off with Enma. You good? You good. Let me start off with Enma. Where was I? Listening. Whoa. Should be good, but whatever. All right. Let's get it. Wait. I gotta pull this up. We got one more thing to pull up before we get started. Yeah. These conversations getting dicey, huh? Ooh, I need movie to go yard tonight. But Where am I going? Where am I going? Yes, there we go. There we go. There we go. I made sure to yeah, wait. There we go. And then there's one more thing I need. Let me push this here. To be fair, we're not really doing any predictions here. This ain't even the prediction aspect. Move over here and let me go here. So let's see. Yeah. Let me see. Oh, thanks. There we go. All right. We're good to go. So here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. What's up, everybody? How you guys doing today? How you guys doing today? We do not plan to be here for long. Probably at most going to be like 45 minutes to an hour. That's why I got started a little late today. But it is what it is. Probably should have started earlier, but I was reading this story and it was pretty good. And I had to get to a certain place where I could stop and be like, all right, I can stop right there. I don't need to continue. I can come do this now. So it's uh it's definitely been an interesting day so far. I'm not gonna lie, man. Life can be tough. Life can be tough, but you gotta smile and laugh through it while you go through the experiences. Man, this has been this has been quite the experience, man. I think in terms of life, for most of us, it's been decent, okay. Maybe for a few of us, it's been terrible. You know how it is. But in terms of football, in terms of being a Ravens fan, this has probably been the worst 48 hours we've had in quite some time. Like, if I'm gonna keep it a bean, everything other than sports, we go through our struggles in life. Everyone trying to make it out there, everyone trying to survive, everyone trying to thrive. It's normal, you're used to it. But in terms of the realm of sports, and it's just an aspect of our lives that takes a good chunk of our time because we support. In terms of being a Ravens fan, this has been the worst 48 hours. Everybody is losing their minds over this team. Everybody is sick of this team. Everybody's sick of everything that's happening with this team. And everyone has come to accept that this is what the team is. And I think everybody, I'm pretty sure a majority of people, there's gonna be plenty of people that keep up the hope and optimism because you still have to do so. You never know what happens. You still have to believe because at the end of the day, you're still a fan of the team. And even though most of us have come to accept what this team is, we still have a small level of belief that they could turn this around and magically go on to win a championship. But that's a different conversation for a different day. We are here to talk about this game here. Ravens, Chiefs. We know this is our kryptonite. This is the team we can't beat. We're 1-2. They're 1-2. Both teams are looking to get back to 500 as well as get their season together. This is a game where it's seen as a potential get right game. Everything's been terrible, but if Baltimore beats the Chiefs, I feel a lot of people in the fan base will at least be a little bit more calmer. Because it's like, well, everything's going to hell right now to start the season, but we beat the Chiefs. And if we beat the Chiefs, everyone's like, you know what? Things aren't perfect, but we did beat Kansas City, which is our kryptonite. Not to mention, last year we started the season 1-2, and we still found a way to win the division. Everyone's going to calm it down. I think that's going to be the mindset that some are going to have. But again, most people already see this team for what it is, myself included. We've already declared that the regular season doesn't really mean much of anything because we already recognize that the Ravens schedule is relatively soft after this early 6 game stretch. But that's where the problems come in because this 6 game stretch was supposed to prove what the Ravens are. And we were going to see if they were truly ready. But through 3 games, we don't look ready. Beating the Browns means nothing, it's irrelevant. But you had a team that you will have to face off against in the playoffs and will have to beat if you want to get to the Super Bowl. A team in the Buffalo Bills, you had them dead to right in their house and you choked a 15-point lead. The Detroit Lions, one of the toughest teams out there in the league, a team that is competing for a Super Bowl, one of the top tier teams, you let them come into your house and bully. Through those two matchups, we understand what the Ravens are. They're not good enough to get it done. And everyone that's looking from the outside thinks we're all panicking or all saying this in terms of the team's going to miss the playoffs. No, the team's not going to miss the playoffs. This team has way too much talent, and the schedule gets lighter after this 6 game stretch. They've got the Rams and Texans up next. Once they go on their bye week, when they come back, it's a soft schedule. You got some divisional matchups, but Cincinnati doesn't have Joe Burrow there. That's not going to be seen as a difficult game. Cleveland, you have one more game against them, and you've already won once. Pittsburgh is a coin toss. And then everything else, you got some soft teams to deal with. So we're not going to get a real indication of what this team is. And people will buy into the team, watching them beat up on inferior competition, and then assume they'll be ready for the playoffs, knowing damn well that they've failed the test already. You can at least start to heal the wounds if you were to beat the Chiefs this week and if you were to beat the Rams. If you beat the Chiefs and Rams, we would look at it and say, all right, mixed bag, but you got a 50-50 shot. You lose to Kansas City, you lose to the Rams, we know for a fact you're not doing anything. Now, most of us already believe that, but you can solidify that by losing this week in Kansas City and going 1-3. That's just the reality of the situation. It is what it is when it comes down to that. So it really doesn't matter what the Ravens do in the regular season moving forward because they've already failed the tests. You failed the test against Buffalo, and then you get manhandled by the Lions. You extremely failed the test. You've got one of the, if not the worst defense in the league. You're, I got the numbers here, just pointing it out. We talked about this yesterday during the therapy session. These are some of the numbers for the Ravens defense. The Ravens defense, they rank 31st in points per game allowed. They're dead last in yards per game allowed. They're 31st in pass yards per game allowed, and they're 30th in rush yards per game allowed. To add more to this, um, they're 32nd in total defense and 31st in scoring defense. And to add even more to this, they're 24th in third down percentage, they're 28th in red zone touchdown percentage, and they're tied for 30th in 20+ yard plays. So their defense doesn't do anything well. They can't stop the run, they can't cover the pass, they can't get to the quarterback, they can't tackle. So you've got a defense that does nothing well. Meanwhile, you've got the best scoring offense in the league. So you've got the best scoring offense in the league and the worst defense in the National Football League. That's crazy how you have that, but that's the reality of the situation. So it is what it is. And now we turn our tables and turn our attention and our focus to Kansas City, a team that hasn't exactly started the way they wanted to start. However, when you look at how they lost versus how we've lost, Kansas City is right where they need to be. They did lose to the Chargers, but it was in a close game against a divisional rival that came down to the wire. And if the Chiefs defense would have done a better job on 3rd and 13 to not allow Justin Herbert to escape the pocket and take off because he started using his legs a lot more starting last year. And he was using his legs all night that game. If the defense would have done a better job and actually got to Justin Herbert on that 3rd and 13 and not let him scramble for a first down, Kansas City gets the ball back with a chance to win the game. And that's Patrick Mahomes to the Chiefs. They probably pulled it off. And then you have a situation with the week 2 game against the Philadelphia Eagles. That's the defending champion Eagles who are undefeated and haven't lost the game in who knows how long. They're like 17-0 or 18-0 right now. When's the last time the Eagles have lost a football game? So they take on that Eagles team, and it comes down to a situation where Travis Kelce fumbles the ball and it gets picked off. If Kelce does not do that, who knows what happens in that game? There were a couple things that hurt the Chiefs, but they lost a tightly contested game against the defending champions. So when you look at how the Chiefs have lost, it's just been one or two things that have caused their losses, but they've been gritty battles that come down to the wire, And it's just a few things that they need to fix offensively. To make things better for them, they're missing their top two wide receivers. So you would assume the offense would improve once you get them back. So when you look at Kansas City, a team that has championship DNA, they have the championship experience, their core pieces are all champions. These guys know what to do in these situations. All they need to do is get back to 500 and they're good to go. On the flip side, you've got Baltimore, a team that doesn't have any championship experience on the roster right now. They've got a championship legacy, but the people responsible for those championships are no longer on this team. Not a single player on this team was part of that Super Bowl team. All gone. So you don't have any championship DNA with this core. You got a coach that won that championship, but he's Doc Rivers. He won that championship a long time ago, and his teams haven't done crap since. So you've got a team with no championship DNA. You've got a team that chokes more than the Atlanta Falcons and LA Chargers combined, or at least previous LA Chargers before Jim Harbaugh got there combined. Like, this is one of the biggest choke artist teams in the National Football League. They can't hold on to leads to save their lives, and they find a way to get themselves embarrassed in the most opportune of opportunities. So when you take a look at the difference between these two teams heading into this game, one with championship pedigree and the other that looks like a flat out mess, what can you honestly say? What can you honestly say? Like, dead serious. Shout out to Donovan with the $5 donation. Did you see John the Paint Chip Eater try to defend the O line's performance? It was a spectacle to see. Reed was drooling talking about Orr's defense. There's no point in watching. It's no point in actually tuning into any of John Harbaugh's press conferences. They're the exact same. You could pull a press conference from like 2013, and it's the exact same tone that John Harbaugh has. His press conferences are a waste of time. Guys, please. I mean, even I occasionally I see clips. I don't watch the press conferences, but y'all do show clips. Y'all do show clips because again, I'm connected to everything Ravens wise, which really is making me feel like I need to just deactivate that Twitter. I'm not even joking. It's just not healthy at times. But it's just not healthy to see it all the damn time. It's just not with all this talk about the Ravens. It's just not healthy. I'd rather just like have a Twitter account that's just focused on anime or something that actually brings me joy and pleasure. But yeah, that there's no point in wasting time looking at any of John or tuning into any of John Harbaugh's press conferences. It's the exact same, and everybody has gotten it down to a T. He says the same things, and nothing's going to change. And Andy Reid was doing the professional thing, but he's ready to eat against this team. That defense is going to get ripped apart. I tweeted this out early on. I tweeted like a few hours ago. Mahomes is going to be moonwalking in that pocket because nobody's going to touch him. Speaking of which, um, in case you didn't know, which I'm sure everybody knows here because it's been a conversation, the Ravens' entire starting interior defensive line did not practice today. Also, Ronnie Stanley was out, so take that with however you want to take it. Take that however you want to take it. Also, things aren't looking good for Namdi Matabike. We have no idea what's happening with that. We haven't gotten any information, but everything is kind of leaning towards this not looking good for him. We pray that's not the case, but yeah, yeah. So everything's terrible right now for the Ravens, and they're in a situation where it's not going to get any better anytime soon. If there is any game for the Chiefs to have a get right game, today's the game. Like this week against the Ravens, you're going to look at the Chiefs, and they're going to look like the Kansas City Chiefs we've seen for the last what 8 years. They're going to take control of this game, and they're going to beat the Ravens. We all know this is going to most likely happen. There's nothing to trust. Lamar Jackson and that offense are going to do everything in their power to try to help us win that game. But that defense is just not going to they're not going to provide an ounce of help. And for as much as we want to sit back and talk about what the offense can do, I know what's going to happen. I cannot wait to see Lamar get strip sacked for the 15 millionth time because somebody misses a block or Ronnie Stanley gets beat off the edge and Lamar gets hit in his blind side for the 15 millionth time. Dude, every time we play Kansas City, Lamar gets strip sacked. Damn near every time. There hasn't been a single game Lamar has played against the Chiefs where he has not had a turnover. Every game he's played against the Chiefs, he's turned the ball over at least once. And it's usually strip sacked. So what's going to be different this time around? The offensive line still sucks. They can't handle pressure. The defense stinks. And historically, against Mahomes, he's cooked that defense. Mahomes has diced up our defense. Go look at his numbers: 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021. Sorry, 2018, 2019. Yeah, we played him 2020 because we lost on Monday Night Football. Yeah, 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021. 2023 is the only time our defense didn't get diced by him, but we still lost the game. That was the AFC Championship game. And then last year, he gave up a wide open touchdown. He didn't dice it too much, but he still was able to move the ball. Mahomes is going to cook our defense. He always cooks our defense. So there's nothing else to really look at here when it comes to this. So it is what it is when it comes to this. Um I'll have my prediction video out tomorrow in terms of how things are going to go. And usually with the Ravens prediction videos, I am kind of obligated to pick the Ravens because I don't think I've ever made a prediction video where I didn't pick the Ravens. However, with this one, it's going to be tough. It's really going to feel like it's going to be less of me talking about the Ravens. It's going to be less of me talking about it's gonna be. Let me put it like this: it's gonna be less of me picking the Ravens and more about me talking about what the Ravens need to do to find a way to win this football game. Because I don't see how Kansas City loses. We don't match up well with them. We are a terrible matchup. It- like we're great. The Chiefs match up perfectly against us. We match up terribly against us, and every time we get smoked. Every time we get smoked. It doesn't matter how horrible the Chiefs' offense looks. They always get right against the Ravens. Mahomes can play perfect against our defense, and nothing's going to change come Sunday. They're going to get beat. Every time, every time Andy Reid and John Harbaugh play, Andy Reid gives John Harbaugh the belt every single time. Usually they always say, you see it in movies, you see it in cartoons, you see it in anime. The student at some point surpasses the teacher. But in this case, the student doesn't even come close to the teacher, and he never will come close to the teacher, and he never will even come close to surpassing him. Because every time Andy Reid and John Harbaugh play, Andy Reid outcoaches John Harbaugh. He outcoaches him. He runs circles around this guy. It's not even close. And every time we play Spags defense, no matter who the offensive coordinator is, be it Greg Roman, be it Todd Monken, they just can't seem to figure out that Chiefs defense. So I don't see how this is going to change up this time around. And they'll be able to put up points. Again, I trust our offensive. I trust Lamar and I trust our weapons. I trust our playmakers to make plays, but I don't trust that offensive line to protect Lamar, and I don't trust the defense. You're not going to win a football game like that. So no one's really surprised. I'm seeing a lot of Ravens fans already predicting, already getting ready for 1-3. And everyone's been saying it'd be nice to beat the Chiefs. It'd be a great relief. It'd be great to see that. But in terms of being realistic and seeing that happen with the way this team's looked and how they've played, nobody's watching this and believing. Well, no one's watching what happened last night and truly believing that they should win. At this point, you're just going off of vibes. You're just going off of vibes. If you're picking the Ravens to beat the Chiefs, you're going off of vibes because nothing they've shown so far would make you think they're going to beat them. Nothing. That defense is pitiful. And you think Mahomes is not going to take advantage of that? Really? Mahomes hasn't played spectacular this year, but with a weak defense like Baltimore, he's going to eat that alive. And with a defensive coordinator that clearly has no idea what he's doing, oh, he's going to tear. Andy Reid is licking his chops. He's licking his chops right now, coming up with ideas for how he's going to torch that defense. They've been struggling to run. I'm telling you right now, Pacheco and Kareem Hunt about to get career days against that defense. Both of them are going to find the end zone. Pacheco and Hunt will find the end zone in this game. Travis Kelsey, he's been looking washed. He will find the end zone in this game. He's probably going to spend a good chunk of Sunday beating the crap out of Roquan Smith because Roquan Smith can't cover. Kyle Hamilton's going to be doing a lot of cardio because for another game, they're just going to ignore him. I'm not going to target an all-pro safety that can harm the game. Let me go target the other side with this rookie safety. Let me go target this other side. Let me take the underneath and target Roquan Smith because I could just eat in the middle of the field. I don't ever have to throw towards Kyle Hamilton's direction. Why would I? I ain't worried about Kyle Hamilton. I don't gotta throw to your direction. I'll throw to this side. I'll throw to the middle of the field where Roquan's getting beat. I don't have to chest Kyle Hamilton. Mahomes is smart. He's not going to try Kyle Hamilton. He's not. Especially if the connection's not there. The only time he'll be willing to do that is if Kelsey's one-on-one with Hamilton, Yeah, he's willing to try that because he trusts Travis Kelce to make that play. We saw it on the AFC Championship game. It was perfect coverage by Hamilton, but Mahomes trusted Kelce to make that play, and he did. And that was not an easy play, but they got it done because they've been getting it done all the time in these moments. We have not been. So yeah, it is what it is. It is what it is, man. It is what it is. We are gonna get cooked. Our defense is gonna get diced up, man. We are gonna get cooked. Left, left, right, up, and down. We are gonna get cooked. Simple as that. We're getting cooked. Um, I'm interested in seeing what Lamar is going to do in this game. I think that's something that is gonna bring a lot of interest because last time Lamar played them, Lamar actually did play well, but once again, goal line execution. If there's anything to really talk about the Ravens this year, their goal line execution has been pitiful. They keep trying to run the same plays that don't work, and it's like, do you not have any other plays? They refuse to look towards the left side. Like they just pretend they keep favoring the right side, and everybody sees that you're favoring the right side, and they're actively covering that right side. It is what it is. Um, things aren't looking good for the Ravens, but hey, man, I'm sure you'll go out there and do your best and get your paycheck and go 1-3, and then Marlon Humphrey can make a podcast episode 12 hours later talking about that. And that actually did tick me off. Because again, Marlon Humphrey for the most part hasn't been bad. He's relatively done his job. Even though against the Lions he wasn't the best and he was clearly hurt, which is why I was like, you should probably take him out if he's not 100%. He was hurt out there. You could see him actively wincing and leaning towards one side. But they kept him in because they don't have anybody else to play that side. You know, Jair is like not there. He's not activated, so it's not like you have any other corners you could really play there. And if you take off Marlon Humphrey, it makes it even worse. But yeah, he was not playing well in that game. He was clearly compromised. But it did piss me off and it annoyed me that he did that 12 hours later. Honestly, if Marlon Humphrey would have done that podcast clip today, if he would have done it today, I don't think anybody in Baltimore or any of the fan base would have been really mad at it. Like if he would have sat back and the same things he said in his episode when he dropped that clip, if he would have said that today, I think people would have been fine. It would have been well past the day. We're on to the Chiefs. He would have sat back and addressed it the same way, and everyone's like, "Yeah, Marlon, you got cooked there. You got to do better, man." Like people would have been a lot more lenient, and they wouldn't have been angry. I'm not mad at players for doing podcasts. This is the era we're in. These athletes want to get involved in this. They want to start setting up for life after football, and these are things that they're interested in. It's fine to have interest in hobby outside the game of football. But I've always said if you're going to do this, you have to back it up on the field. That's what people talked about when it came to CJ Stroud. CJ Stroud was out there acting like he was freaking speed. He was going to these different locations. He's over here with Micah Parsons. They out here wrestling sumo wrestlers and stuff. They were out here racing. They were going to different locations. And we're like, okay, CJ, that's cool. He's on all these podcast episodes and stuff. That's cool, bro. That's cool. But you gotta deliver on the field. And CJ Stroud has not really been delivering on the field. Marlon's been getting relatively cooked this season. And yet he's coming out here with these episodes. That's problematic. It's fine to have hobbies and it's fine to do your show if you want, but you have to deliver on the football field or else you open yourself up to criticism. That's just the simple fact of the matter. Travis Kelce was able to do his podcast when they were winning games and winning championships. The podcast was already happening when the Chiefs won a championship. When they beat the Eagles in 2022, the podcast with him and his brother, with him and his brother Jason was already happening. But they won. And he was doing his job. It's fine for these athletes to do this, but you have to be doing your job. And Marlon Humphrey is not doing his job. He's thinking up the joint, and then he's going on this podcast and talking about it's a brand new day, tough day at the office. Nobody wants to hear that. It's fine to say that and talk about that when you're doing your job, but when you're not doing well, that's what pisses fans off. And that's the quickest way to lose a fan base. Just be realistic here. Um before I continue forward, let me take a look at some of these comments here because I guess we'll talk about a few matchups here. We're not really going to be previewing the Ravens and Chiefs here tonight. That's going to be for the video tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. And again, that's going to be such a difficult video because again, I'm not really sure how to make a prediction here because I have been very clear. I don't see us winning this game. But when it comes to my Raven preview videos, I never pick against us. So this is going to be a tough one. I think it's going to be one of those videos where I'm just going to point out what the Ravens need to do to win, and then just hope for the best because I don't know if I can make a prediction in this game. I actually got my prediction nearly right once, and it was against the Ravens. It was against the Chiefs. It was literally Ravens Chiefs 2018. I said we would win that game 27-24. We lost that game 27-24, and that pissed me off. I was like, well, I got the final score right. I just had the wrong team. It is what it is. Anyway, before we continue forward, let me take a look at some of these comments because I know you guys are heated. You are coming here with all of this talk. That's just how bad the Ravens have been and how this has just infuriated the franchise. And well, not franchise, the fan base, because the franchise doesn't seem like they care. If you saw that press conference, that press conference today, and how John Harbaugh was talking, he don't care. He's tone deaf. The franchise is tone deaf. They don't care. They're not serious about winning, and we all know. Came to a realization today that the Ravens won't get to the promised land without a real difference maker on defense. They're not getting to the promised land even if you get that real difference maker. The coaching staff is going to fail them every single time, and these guys don't even know what they're doing out there in coverage half the time. They look lost. Even Marlon Humphrey was talking about they just are not on the same page at all, and it's clear as day. What's going on, Loyal? What's up, Daniel? What's up, Young Zeus? We're gonna lose probably. Got a solid 11-6 season coming, and that will still make the playoffs and probably get beaten the second round by the Chiefs, the Bills, like we always do. Chiefs not that good this year. We will win. You keep telling yourself that. What, dude? Chiefs not that good. We're not that good. So you're saying the Chiefs are not that good. We're not that good. Our record clearly shows we're not that good right now. Your defense has given up 41 and 38 in 2 of the 3 games. We're not good against better teams. So you could talk about the Chiefs not being that good, but the Chiefs haven't got humiliated. They haven't blown any leads. They didn't get manhandled by any team. The Chiefs are missing their top 2 wide receivers. That's why the offense looks the way they are. The defense is actually looking pretty good. The Chiefs defense has been carrying for like 3 years now. The offense has always been problematic, but when they need to do their job, they've usually done it. So we can talk about the Chiefs not being that good. Are we a good football team right now? No. I made that video talking about it when it comes to the truth about the Ravens. The Ravens are not a football team right now. They're a collective group of individuals that have no idea how to work as a unit. So again, you're free to keep that level of optimism, but based on what they've put on film, this is not a good football team. Good football teams don't play like this. The Lions are a good football team. That's why they played the way they're playing. The Bills are a good football team. We are not a good football team right now. We don't play like a football team. We don't act like a football team. We are not connected right now like a football team is supposed to be. Everyone seems lost. Lamar's frustrated. It's not a good look right now. They don't operate like a football team right now. So we could talk about the Chiefs being not that good according to you because they didn't beat the defending champion Eagles, who by the way have not lost the game since like what, week 4 of last year, and they lost to the Chargers, who are 3-0 in their division and 3-0 on the season. You can feel free to say the Chiefs are not that good if you want. They lost close games to 2 teams that are leading their division and are undefeated right now. But we have not looked good at all defensively. And it doesn't matter how many points you put up. If you can't stop anything, you're probably going to lose. And that's happened to us 2 out of the 3 matchups. And it's been against top-tier teams. So are you sure we're a good football team? We got a good quarterback. We got good weapons on offense. But the all-line sucks and the defense sucks. Are you sure we're a good team? We're going to lose. Most people expect that. Where's that sword from? Oh, this, I have my collection here. I got like, I'm going to have to put it back up. All right. I have a nickel. I got to use that nickel today. I got like 3. Yeah, this is, I'm a One Piece fan. So I got all of Zoro's swords. Because Zoro uses 3 swords on the shell. So this white sword is the Wado Ichimonji. This sword here is the Sandai Katetsu. And then the purple sword I've been holding is called Enma. So yeah, it's just some swords that I got. And yeah, they are like, they're real. They're not like wood. These are real metal. So I actually could do some real damage with these swords, but I don't really use them for that. So if anyone tries to sneak in, they're getting smoked. But that's a different conversation for a different time. Um, our defense ain't stopping nothing. Yeah, they're not. They're not. With hard fraud, 1-3 incoming, they're scared of the Chiefs. Wouldn't be surprised if we lose. Ravens been getting dragged on social media, deservedly so. This is one of the worst defenses, if not the worst defense in franchise history. The Ravens defense has not given up a single 95 plus yard drive since 2001. They have not given up a let me phrase that. The Baltimore Ravens defense has not given up a single 95 plus yard drive in their house since 2001. That Ravens defense yesterday, or that Ravens defense on Monday, gave up two 95 plus yard drives at home. They gave up 224 rushing yards, the most they've given up in any game since 2007. Not 2000, since 2017. Since 2017, excuse me, not since 2000. Since 2017, that's the 224 rushing yards is the most rushing yards they've given up since 2017. I mean, I could go at it. We talked about the stats in the therapy session. This defense is terrible. So they deserve to be dragged on media because the team sucks right now, and everybody can see it. Lamar Jackson's leading the league in touchdowns. He has the best passer rating in the league. He's damn near top 3 in every statistic. And the team is 1-2. That speaks volumes. Bro, we laughed at the Bengals. Bro, we the Bengals right now. We last year's Bengals. Because Joe Burrow was like top 3 in everything. And the team sucked because they were losing. And the funny thing about it is we were 1-2 last year. Not gonna lie, I don't see Lamar resigning with us. We wasted his career. Yeah, let them keep pissing him off. Keep pissing off Lamar and see if you get that contract extension done. Henry can't fumble this week. It's up to Derrick Henry to get it done. He's a future Hall of Fame back, and he's the one that gets on himself more than anyone else. If he can't, if it's how he's holding the ball or how he's going about it, change how you're holding the ball. People have been saying it's the sleeves. Take the sleeves off then. If it's the sleeves that's causing it, take the sleeves off. If it's how you're holding the ball, change how you're holding the ball. But 3 straight games of fumbling the ball, at some point, Derrick, you have to understand that you got to protect the football. So you, as a future Hall of Fame back, make the change. Simple as that. Simple as that. Simple as that. That's all I got to say about that. We started rough in the few seasons in the Lamar era, but that Lions game was different. Yeah, that was the most embarrassing defensive loss or defensive display in franchise history. I don't think I've ever seen a game where the Ravens have given up 2 95 plus yard drives. I mean, they've given up some long drives before, and they've gotten beaten before. But 2 95 plus yard drives, somebody go check that. In the 30-year history of the Ravens, have we ever given up 2 95 plus yard drives in the same game? Maybe we had another year where our defense did. Maybe in the 90s. Maybe with the 90s defense from 96 to 99 when we first were established and that defense was trash. Maybe we did it there. But I don't know if we've ever given up 2 95-yard plus drive touchdowns. I don't know if we've done that in the same game before. We've given up 1, but 2? I don't think so. We chopped versus the Chiefs. I'm only going to watch to laugh at Harbaugh's glue-sniffing mouth. Everyone keeps talking about the same look on his face every time we're losing a game. It's hilarious. I just think we need to accept that we ain't winning. Dude, people have been accepted this. People accepted it in week 1 when they blew a 15-point lead. People have accepted this. Most Ravens fans have accepted this is what's happening here. Most Ravens fans have accepted we're not winning. We're not winning unless significant changes are made. So it is what it is. It's okay. Super Bowl teams don't win at them all. Again, you're just trying to be as optimistic as possible. What are you seeing from this team that is allowing you to continue? Is this just blatant, blind optimism, or are you actually seeing something that makes you think that this is not a championship team because you don't have a championship defense? You can't. There hasn't been a single team that has won with a defense this bad. The only team in this millennium that got to a Super Bowl with a defense this bad was the 2016 Chiefs. Not just kidding. Was the 2016 Falcons. You know what happened with that 2016 Falcons team, right? Choked the lead in the Super Bowl. Biggest choke job in NFL history. Like, we're not winning a Super Bowl with a defense like this. Unless significant changes are made, this team has no shot. And pretending it does is just blind optimism. They got no shot to win unless significant changes are made. We're going to make it to the playoffs and be first-round exits. Potentially, unless you face off against a bottom feeder team that is more problematic than you are. But who knows? Must win game? Probably a must win game, but they probably won't win it. I mean, the Cowboys are the biggest choker contenders. Dude, with the way we've choked, we might be bigger choke artists than the Cowboys. We are either on their level or bigger than them. Nobody's choked more games in recent history than the Baltimore Ravens. At the end of the day, we'll talk about the Cowboys choking in terms of them not showing up. We're actually choking away leads. No one's blown more leads than the Ravens. Nobody. Nobody. We might not even make the playoffs with the way this team is playing. We're not even a playoff team. Right now, we're not a playoff team, but luckily for them, their schedule gets softer after this. So they'll just beat up on weaker teams and get to the playoffs that way. And then people buy into them because they love buying snake oil. And then they'll find out that snake oil is worth nothing, and you shouldn't have bought into it when this team loses in the playoffs again. Urgency level to beat the Kansas City very high. This team is not healthy now. Yeah, the whole entire in the interior defensive line did not practice today. Also, Ronnie Stanley didn't practice, so good luck with that. This team's banged up. Basically, with a poor man's version of the Eagles, except our coach and quarterback is better. I'm not here to have any of those conversations. I wouldn't put us and the Eagles in the same conversation. We do not belong in the same conversation as the Philadelphia Eagles. Not even close. EDC needs to use that first rounder on the edge rusher. Good luck with that. I highly dislike the Chiefs, but the Ravens lack toughness because of Harbaugh. This team's soft, so it don't even matter. And Reed is Harbaugh's daddy. Eh, eh. That's just how it is. Should have traded for Parsons. They weren't paying him 40 plus million, so it wasn't gonna happen. Excuse me. Humphrey got cooked versus the Lions. Well, Harbaugh got out coached by Dan Campbell. That was very clear. But once again, Harbaugh getting out coached in the game. Anyone surprised by that? Nope. Humphrey got cooked versus Lions. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. The NFC North is tough. Don't underestimate them, especially when the Ravens aren't healthy. Yeah, I mean, I don't think anyone underestimated the Lions. I think it was for the most part, people were just leaning into the offense being good enough to just get it done. But no, that has not been the case. Marlon's been awful this season, 146 passer rating when targeted this season. That's terrible. That's really terrible. I hope we win, but unfortunately, I got us losing to the Chiefs. So does pretty much everyone in this fan base. Won't be surprised. 1-3. Don't trust his defense. It is what it is. Go Ravens. Yeah, we'll be back next week. Zachary or I'm getting close to Greg Roman territory. Actually, Charles Zachary Orr is worse than Greg Roman. That's not a hot take. Zachary Orr is worse than Greg Roman. As much as the fan base has hatred for Greg Roman for how things ended, Greg Roman gave you a historical year in 2019. And even past 2019, when you take a look at his offense from a production standpoint, they weren't the best, but they were still within the top 10 from a production standpoint just because the running game was so good. Greg Roman at least had something he was good at. He had something he was good at. That was the run game. He was the most creative run game planner of anyone in the league. He at least had something he was good at, and he stuck with that. Zachary Orr doesn't have anything that he's good at. He doesn't do anything well. And his defense certainly doesn't do anything well. The defense, they can't stop the run. They can't cover the pass. They can't tackle. They can't get to the quarterback. They don't do anything well. The best I can give you was early last year when the run defense was great. But for the first half of the season, teams weren't running the ball on us because you could just air it out. And then in the second half, they were going up against softer teams. So it's not like they were dealing with dominant running backs. When they were dealing with tougher competition with better backs, they weren't really dealing with them because they were dealing with all these passes. They were getting cooked by receivers because their pass defense was horrible. Now this year, their pass defense is horrible and their run defense is horrible. They just stink all around. So yeah, Zachary Orr is worse than Greg Roman. We can deal with bad offense. He's probably more hated now. Zachary Orr is probably going to end up being more hated than Greg Roman because we can deal with bad offense in Baltimore. You can't deal with bad. This fan base was built on defense. We grew up watching a Hall of Fame defense, watching Ray Lewis, watching Ed Reed, watching Terrell Suggs. We grew up watching greatness, a Hall of Fame defense for years. We can take bad offense. We can't take bad defense. We cannot take bad defense. Not at all. Cannot take bad defense. We cannot deal with bad defense. You know what's crazy, man? The Ravens haven't won in Kansas City since 2012. We've gone up there total, let me see. One, two, three times. We've gone up there three times since 2012, and we haven't won once. We haven't won a game in Kansas City since 2012. That was December 7th of 2012. That was during the Super Bowl year. So December 7th of 2012 was the last time we won in Kansas City. You guys know what the final score of that game was? Between Kansas City and Baltimore? It was a game December, not December, excuse me. October, I'm saying December. October 7th, 2012. October 7th, 2012. October 7th, 2012 was the last time Baltimore won a game in Kansas City. You want to guess what the final score is? I can tell you. The last time the Ravens won in Kansas City was October 7th, 2012. They won 9-6. They won 9-6. And that Chiefs team was not good. But they won 9-6. That was actually not even a great year for our defense, too. But they won 9-6. That's the last time we won in Kansas City. Funny enough, we've had other games where we've had another game where we did win. We actually won in Kansas City. The crazy thing about it is we actually had like three straight wins at Kansas City before Mahomes stepped foot there. We beat them in 2006, 2010. We beat them in 2011 in the wild card game, 30-7, and then we beat them 9-6 in 2012. Yeah, that was a Super Bowl year. December, October 7th, 2012. Yeah, the defense held Kansas City to 6 points. The offense was garbage, and it was a 9-6 game. Justin Tucker had like three field goals, and that ultimately was enough to win the game. But yeah, that's kind of just how it is. But yeah, that's the last time we won in Kansas City. So that was nearly 13 years ago. But it is what it is. But yeah, Zachary Orr is definitely worse than Greg Roman, and the fans are turning on Zachary Orr faster than they did with Greg Roman. I watched the new Demon Slayer movie. I have not. My sister told me to go watch it. I'm gonna watch it at some point, but I have not watched the new movie. My sister watched it. She told me to go watch it. I'm gonna find time to do it. I'm gonna find time to do it. What's going on, Josh? Shout out to Donovan with the $2 donation. I'm laughing so hard right now. This team cracks me up. It's the same story with them every year. Honestly, what's the difference between Harbs and Nick Sirianni? Um, Nick Sirianni actually does a better job in clock management. I hate to tell you this, Nick Sirianni does a better job in clock management. I think that's one aspect that we can bring up. He does a better job with clock management. I don't think Nick Sirianni is the best of coaches, but this team rally behind him. They really rally behind him and they defend him to the death. But in terms of clock management, he's better at that than Harbaugh. Harbaugh and Tomlin are like two of the worst coaches when it comes to clock management. I'm dead serious. That Monday night game wasn't even close, regardless what the scoreboard tells you. Oh, everybody knew that. Mark Andrews missed the block. Then he came to punch the ball out when Henry was about to stiff arm the linebacker. I don't know what Mark was doing. I mean, I don't know what to tell you, dude. I really don't. Chiefs winning? Sammy, we already know Chiefs winning. Likely playing. He has a high chance to play, but it's not been confirmed yet. Wonder what John Harbaugh's excuse going to be when we are 1-3 after Sunday. Well, we just didn't execute. We're not playing good football right now. We got to do better here. We got to do better there. We got to do a better job of this. We got to do a better job of that. The usual spiel. He doesn't take accountability. I didn't get. I don't even know where this work came from. I bought this online. I got this online. Actually, no, I got this as a gift. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I got this as a gift. So I actually don't know where. I got this as a gift from my cousin, so I don't know where they specifically got it from. So I can't even give you that answer. Daniel Jones about to get exposed against the Rams. I mean, good luck with that. Even as a Browns fan, I'm rooting for the Ravens, but with their defense, I pick the Chiefs. Sam, it's so easy. Pick the Chiefs. Don't waste your time on the Ravens. Pick the Chiefs. Pick the Chiefs. I expect Patty to have a career game on Sunday. He won't have a career game, but he's going to cook the Ravens defense the way he always does. So yeah, 5 years ago, I would have rooted for the Chiefs, but now I'm rooting for the Ravens. Nah, you should. You might as well just pick the Chiefs in this. No point. Ravens are gonna lose. We might go 1-5 and simply blow it up because we ain't making the playoffs. I'd actually be surprised if they go 1-5, but if it means blowing up this crap and actually getting some real change in Baltimore, I wouldn't mind it. I'm not gonna root for us to lose. I hope we win these games and turn this around. But like, if it causes us to make some significant changes, I would prefer that to be the case. Yeah, the Chiefs were the worst team in the league that year when we won 9-6. Not gonna lie, us losing is the best thing that could happen to us. Believe it or not, we would have done this in the playoffs. We might as well choke now so we don't waste our time. Fortunately, because of their soft schedule, they're going to find a way to get to the playoffs. So if we win this game, that means we win the bowl. Hell no, not even close. Our Ravens related Rip Rudy Johnson. Oh wow, did not realize that's the case. I did not realize that. RIP. Condolences to family, friends, and loved ones. At least Greg Roman was competent at something, which was running the ball. Yeah, at least he had something he was good at. Maybe Roquan was a Mike McDonald merchant. Dude, a lot of these players seem to be a Mike McDonald merchant. Dog, I mean, Brandon Stevens looked like a damn all pro with Mike McDonald's defense. Marcus Williams was a Pro Bowl with one arm. He was playing at a Pro Bowl level with one arm in Mike McDonald's defense. Geno Stone was seen as a very valuable safety under Mike McDonald's defense. Mike McDonald made a lot of people look good with his scheme. Can't believe this team lost to a clown coach that doesn't like field. Well, I'm not going to disrespect Dan Campbell like that. I mean, the guy is going to play aggressive. He's an aggressive head coach, and it works perfectly for what Detroit represents. They love Dan Campbell being aggressive, and that's what they want them to be. So it is what it is. Why are we favored in this game? Is Vegas stupid? I don't know why we're favored in this game. It's probably because they're watching Lamar Jackson and the Ravens offense, and the Chiefs offense sucks. In this era, it's all about the offense. Nobody cares about what your defense is doing. The Ravens are getting picked because they have the better offense. That's it. It makes no sense as to why. Historical wise, you shouldn't pick this. Matchup wise, you shouldn't pick this. Historical wise, Kansas City has the edge in the Patrick Mahomes era. Matchup wise, Kansas City has the edge, Patrick Mahomes era. But because offense, they made their picks for the Ravens. I don't know how Kansas City's not even favored at home. Kansas City should be favored. Absolutely. I don't know what the media is on. I don't know what Vegas is on. It's dumb. Kansas City should be favored in this game. Baltimore has played so terribly defensively that I don't see how you could look at Kansas City, who's lost two close games against teams that are undefeated right now, and compare them to the choking performance by the Ravens and the manhandling that the Lions gave them on Monday night. I don't know how you don't pick the Chiefs in that situation, but it is what it is. We know what's going to happen come Sunday. Um, Even if we make the playoffs, we know what to expect. We've seen them choke already, so we can't be fooled again. We know what's going to happen. Everybody knows the Ravens are going to fold in the playoffs. It's only a matter of time. Wink is better than Zachary Orr, and water is wet, or water is something. I'm just saying, like the sun's going to come up tomorrow. Even if it's going to be a rainy day, the sun will technically come up tomorrow. 2 plus 2 is 4. I mean, that's not a difficult state. Like we're talking about very simple statements that are blatantly obvious. It's blatantly obvious Wink is better than Zachary Orr. Right now, I'm looking at the AFC Championship as Bills Chargers, but before the season, we could see Ravens Chiefs. Not now, in my opinion. It's too early to claim that, guys. It's been 3 games. It'd be interesting. Well, again, one thing that we have got to learn to do is to just let things play out. I guess if we're basing it off of 3 games, it would look to be Bills Chargers, but I don't like making Super Bowl picks, especially early on, because you never know what these teams are going to ultimately look like. You really don't down the stretch. For all we know, the Chargers blow this. I don't think they're going to, but that could very well happen, and things change. It's very easy to do that. People had the freaking Saints last year as a as a Super Bowl contender because of 3 games, and Derek Carr was in the MVP conversation, and then we saw what happened. It's very tough to just make these. I just don't know if you want to make these predictions for championship game and Super Bowl picks based off of 3 games. I think there's a lot more that needs to be happening. Also, again, the Chiefs always get the benefit of the doubt because they do it every year. Mahomes has never missed an AFC championship game. So unless this year is going to be the year they get buried, which we have to see it to believe it, the Chiefs will be back in the AFC championship game until they actually get beaten. That's just how it is. Chuck Pagino should be promoted defensive coordinator, at least demote Zach or if he's not fired. Bro, I think Chuck is actually I would love to see Chuck's reactions to what's happening defensively because you know he's not calling the plays, but dog, with the way we're playing, this had Chuck's defense does not really play like that. Chuck's defense is a lot more aggressive and a lot more physical in terms of how they play the wide receivers than what we are actually doing out there with Zachary Orr's defense. He's got to be disgusted watching what he's doing, but he's not the play caller. He's not the defensive coordinator. So it's not his job to call the plays. That's Zachary Orr's job. So it must be tough watching Chuck have to see some of these plays. I wonder what Chuck would I really do wonder what Chuck's mind was thinking at the time when Zachary Orr decided to have a rookie edge rusher, Mike Green, cover Sam Laporta on a crucial 3rd down. I really wonder what Chuck was thinking at the time when he actually saw Zachary Orr call that. Detroit football, yeah, man, they still are great. I don't know why people thought they'd be terrible because they lost Ben Johnson. I mean, again, Dan Campbell is the heart and soul of that team. You can replace coordinators, but your head coach is the primary focus. He's the one that the team's going to rally behind. If you've got a good head coach, you can get a new offensive coordinator, you can get a new defense coordinator, and you can slowly work through it. But if you got a great head coach, the foundation will continue to stay there. And that's why Dan Campbell's a good head coach. Can't believe we genuinely thought this defense was going to be great with all the preaching, all that preaching from the players and staff in the offseason. Part of me feels like they could be great, but you actually need to have a defensive coordinator that knows what he's doing. If you can get a defensive coordinator that actually knows how to do the job, we could see the potential that this defense could bring. So part of me feels that way, but the other part of me is watching these guys go out there and just suck. So yeah, it's hard for me to fully stand on that statement. But if you actually had somebody that actually knew what they were doing, you actually had a decent defensive coordinator that actually know how to do the job, then maybe he put these players in better situations. Because if Mike McDonald was here, this defense doesn't look like that. 100%. If Mike McDonald was here, this defense does not look like that. We know for a fact. And the Ravens did beat the Chiefs but missed the playoffs. That'll be funny. It could happen. Colts remind me of last year's Vikings rather than the Saints. That's my thing. I talked about this. Well, I was thinking about this at work. I was like, what Daniel Jones is doing right now is good, but it's too quick to be able to crown him. So he right now is at a cross. He's on a cross paths. He's at a cross path right now. He has 2 options that he could end up being. Is Daniel Jones going to be 2024 Derek Carr or 2024 Sam Darnold? We'll find out. If he's 2024 Sam Darnold, the Colts are going to win the division and go into the playoffs. If he's 2024 Derek Carr, this is going to collapse. But we'll just have to wait and see. Dude, I would love to get Chuck back. Funny enough, I actually want to see what. Let me see something here. Let me see something here. I want to check some ratings. I want to check some ratings here real quick. I feel so bad for Chuck being on this defense and watching Zachary Orr have no idea what the hell he's doing. I actually want to go see. Let me look at this right now because I that was the year were supposed to win the Super Bowl when he was our defensive coordinator that year. All right. So let me see. I wrote it down, but I can't even find the paper for that. Let me see. That's not what I'm looking to see. No, not that. There we go. Um, man, I need to wait. Hold on. It'd be great if you would stop taking 12,000 years to load. Let's see. Oh my god, it'd be a lot better if I can get these rankings. Oy. We were the fourth ranked defense in 2011. Yeah, the Ravens were the fourth ranked defense in 2011. Not preseason. I'm talking about regular season. Let me see. Actually, no. Let me see. We were the third ranked defense. In 2011, we were the third ranked defense. Pittsburgh was first. We were third. Um, we were actually giving up. We were giving up 16.6 points a game. Giving up 288 yards per game. We were actually third in that. We were fourth. I think we were fourth in total yardage, but we were what top three in points given up per game. Let me see. Let me see. Let me see. Rank in terms of points per games. Baltimore was ranked third in points per game given up, so they were the third best scoring defense. Um, in terms of total yards, they were ranked third. Get Chuck back on this. Get Chuck. Forget what I was talking about, dog. Forget what I was talking about. I was trying to say, go see if you can give Chuck the job. He's qualified to do this. He's absolutely qualified. He's absolutely qualified. Like, we brought him back. We should have won the Super Bowl in 2011. We all know what happened at the AFC Championship game. Why not just put him as defensive coordinator? You've got a guy that can clearly do the job. You've got the guy that can do the job. You've clearly got the guy that can do the job. You've clearly got the just give the job to Chuck. We got all this talent. Chuck knows what he's doing. I'd give this to Chuck. In all honesty. The funny thing is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Let me see. Because he went to the Colts. And let's see. 2012 with the Colts, they were a top 10 defense in 2012. 2013, they did kind of fall off in 2013. Actually, let me see. Did they fall off? Kind of middle of the road, but not too bad defensively in 2013. 2014, the Colts were ranked third in defense. 2015, the Colts We're actually a bad defensive team that year. That was not a good year for 2015. 2016, the Colts back to being a top 10 defense. And then this last year's 2017, where the Colts defense was actually second to last worst in the league. Actually, wait, no. Oh, no, I got this wrong. My bad. Let me see. Oh, no, no, sorry. I just realized what this was. My mistake. My mistake. My mistake. My mistake. So yeah, hold on. Let me look at this again. I'm sorry, I just realized this reset. I was looking at the Colts offense. No wonder things were looking different. Yeah, okay, let's go. 2012 Colts defense is actually yeah, the Colts defense was bad in 2012. 2013, the Colts defense was better, middle of the road, but still better. 2014, the Colts defense improved. So every year they got better and better. Now they're actually close. Let me see. Every year they got better. So 2012 they were bad. So I'm guessing it took some time before Chuck could turn that defense around. But he did start to turn it around. And then in 2015, the Colts defense fell off again. 2016, the Colts defense is top 10. And then his final year there, the Colts defense was again bad. I think that was a bad year for the Colts overall. But yeah, I mean, honestly, Chuck could do this. I'm not gonna lie, Chuck could do. Actually, yeah, you're right. You're right. But the defense under him was definitely bad. Let me actually look how he was because he was a defensive coordinator with Chicago in 2019 and 2020. Let me look at the defensive aspects. So yeah, honestly, those years where Chuck was the head coach, his defenses were middle of the road. So he did come there and change life because their offense was improving. That was with the Andrew Luck years, and he was dealing with injuries. So Chuck actually did a pretty decent job with that Colts team as the head coach. But that's a different conversation. So 2019 and 2020. Let me take a look at the Chicago Bears defense under Chuck because he was a defensive coordinator in 2019 and 2020 for the Chicago Bears. Defensively, the Bears were one, two, three, four, five, six. They were eighth. So they were top 10 defense in 2019. And then 2020, the Bears were, again, a top 10 defense. Or close to that. They're actually, I think, around 11th. So, yeah, honestly, defensively, he knows what he's doing as a defensive coordinator. I wouldn't be mad if Chuck, if they would fire Zachary Orr and just let Chuck be the defensive coordinator, I wouldn't mind it. I wouldn't mind it. I wouldn't mind it. I think if there's anyone on the staff that you could put to just be that, Chuck, the last time he was our defensive coordinator was in 2011. We had a great defense that year. So I wouldn't mind if there's anyone that could turn this defense around. Chuck would be one of the guys you would look to. We miss Ricard on the offense bad. Mark Andrews been getting spun around. Uh, I've watched some. I've watched some of those movies. I've watched some Chinese. I've watched some Japanese movies. Hell, I've watched some live action stuff too. But it's not like I'm not a huge movie person. I really should get into movies. Other teams called, so I saw Chuck as a head coach, but he was the Ravens defense coordinator. Ravens defense coordinator in 2011, I believe. So yeah, he was. So he could definitely be good. I wouldn't mind it. The Ravens Lions game reminds me of last year's Ravens Eagles game, where the Ravens were dominated for most of the game despite the scoreboard saying it was a close game. Dude, this game was worse than that. The Lions, at least the Eagles, did not march freaking 95 plus yards on us. They did it twice. The Lions really spanked us for 60 minutes. Mark Trestman or Zachary Orr. I hate Mark Trestman with every fiber in my body. But again, I can stand bad offense. I can't stand bad defense. So Zachary Orr is worse. I'll take Mark Trestman. I can stand. I lived with bad offense. We don't accept bad defense in Baltimore. That's not what we're accustomed to. Colts have a soft schedule, so don't be surprised if Daniel Jones leads them to the playoffs. Again, it's either going to be 2024 Derek Carr or 2024 Sam Darnold. We'll see what happens with Daniel Jones. Think the Giants would dead on arrival if we won the Super Bowl in 2011? I don't know. Yeah, he said it was something going on health wise in terms of why he didn't want to go. Yeah, it was because he was dealing with some health issues during that time, but he got the itch back, which is why he came to help coach in Baltimore. He was dealing with health issues, but thankfully, he was able to recover. He's good now, and he's been away from the game for some time, which is why he got that itch back to coach, and he came back here. So I wouldn't mind if he's a defensive coordinator. I wouldn't. I really wouldn't. I really wouldn't. But yeah, guys, we got Kansas City. We got Kansas City this week. There's not much more for me to say tonight. I really just wanted us to talk about this game as a whole. If we could give a brief ending here before we call it a night, because it's about time to call it because it is past 12, and I don't hold you guys up here. Some of y'all definitely got things you got to do the next day. I don't want to ever hold you guys up. So, um, for a fact, we will be further discussing this. Maybe back on again tomorrow. So just stay tuned for that as well. But yeah, in terms of this game, Ravens versus Chiefs, I don't understand where the media is coming from with them picking the Ravens to win this game. I'm not really a believer in that aspect to pick the Ravens to win this game. I don't think we should be the ones to be getting picked in this, but you know, it is what it is. I don't know what to tell you, man. I really don't know what to tell you. I I feel matchup wise, this is just not a good matchup for the Ravens. Obviously, the Chiefs have the advantage here, and they probably should win. In terms of the Ravens offense, I would like to, for one, see the win or lose. Can we just get a game where the Ravens don't turn the ball over, please? Especially against Kansas City. We've played Kansas City every time in the Mahomes era. We've never played a clean game against them. Every single time we've played against the Chiefs, we have turned the ball over. Every single time we have turned the ball over. And most of the time, it's been fumbles. The amount of fumbles we have against Kansas City is egregious. Also, this is a thing that I really hold against the coaching staff because what are you teaching? The Ravens' ball security is so terrible. They fumble all the time. Like I'm gonna be honest, I have no worries about Lamar throwing picks. He's one of the most efficient quarterbacks. He just don't turn the ball over via interception. But I have the concerns about Lamar fumbling the ball. And I have those same concerns with Derrick Henry. And I have those same concerns with Mark Andrews. And I could have a little of those concerns with Zay Flowers. And sometimes with Rashad Bateman. This team has a fumbling problem. For years now, they've had a fumbling problem. And it's never been improved. It's never been fixed. They keep talking about that they practice this, but we never, ever, ever, ever get that fixed. And it is getting tiring. It is getting tiring watching this team constantly fumble in these games. It's awful watching that happen. Um, it's really awful having to see that happen. It's truly unfortunate. Uh, did we turn the ball over in last year's game? Yeah, Lamar fumbled. Lamar fumbled in that game. Lamar fumbled in that game. But again, this is just how it is. I Can't wait to dissect this tomorrow, my video. But in terms of tonight, it's it ain't really looking good. We got guys that are hurt. We don't even know who's going to play come Sunday, and I don't expect things to get better. It is what it is. We just got to deal with it. But I'll see you guys later. I'm gonna call it here for tonight. I'm gonna take a look at some of these final comments before we head on out, and yeah, we'll call it here. Tomorrow's Thursday night football. I might stream that game. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Is this Ravens defense worse than the late 90s? Honestly, it's up there with the late 90s because we stink. We're at the bottom of the league. We give up so many. We can't stop the run, can't stop the pass, can't get to the quarterback. We can't cover. We can't do anything right. We're up there with the 90s Ravens defense, honestly. And I mean, Harbaugh has to admit his defensive coordinator pick wasn't good and his ego won't allow it. Just like his ego won't allow him to replace 77. Yeah, the parasite strikes again. Ravens offense versus Chiefs defense will be the matchup, but Mahomes just has to be decent, and it'll be enough against the Ravens defense, unfortunately, under Zach Orr. Yeah, that's why the Chiefs are going to win, most likely. Only the 2001 Patriots started 1-3 and ended up winning the Super Bowl. Well, we ain't the 2001 Patriots. We're not led by Bill. We're not led by Bill Belichick, by the way. We got John Harbaugh. We ain't got no Bill Belichick. It is what it is, dog. Anyway, guys, I'm going to end it here. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I just wanted to make something brief because, we did the Ravens therapy session, but we're on a short week and we have to immediately move on to Kansas City. And we didn't talk about Kansas City last night. We just kept talking about how bad this defense is. So I wanted to do a little brief talk about Kansas City in terms of this matchup. And stay tuned for my prediction video tomorrow, or preview video. I can't even call it a prediction. I don't even have a prediction for this. So it is what it is. Belichick exposed, though. He did bad with Brady. I mean, he was great for a lot of years. You saw what the team was under him. They definitely did need him. Now, you could say Belichick now isn't really looking like the same guy, but I don't think Belichick in 2004 is the same Belichick we're seeing now in 2025. I'm not gonna, like, 20 plus years of great coaching, what he was doing with those defenses and stuff. I'm not gonna say it should be immediately erased because he's not doing good in college football. It just means he doesn't have the same touch. Maybe his style of coaching doesn't work in this era or whatever you want to say. But I'm not gonna erase 20 plus years and say, oh, he did nothing when we watch him out coach a lot of coaches and we saw what his defenses did for years. So no, I'm not erasing what a coach does. You could probably bring a lot of these great coaches back to try to coach teams now. It wouldn't be a good look. Belichick lost the touch. It's better for him to retire. So yeah, it's hard to sit back and pretend that sit back and say that Belichick is also exposed for all those years. It's more so he's just not the same coach he was 20 years ago, which is fine. He's not. It'd be better for him to retire. But he's coaching college football. He's having fun. Let him do what he wants to do. If it works out for them, cool. If not, so be it. Anyway, guys, that is pretty much it for me tonight. I just wanted to do this brief thing just to let y'all know it's Chiefs week. We will be talking about this in my preview tomorrow. I'm gonna just be straight up. I don't have a prediction. I don't. I think the best way for me to do this is to talk about what I think is going to happen in the game, key matchups, and things that the Ravens need to do to win. But I cannot, with good conscience, pick this team to win. I can't. So I will not be giving a prediction tomorrow. It'll be a preview, and we'll just see what happens come Sunday. With that being said, guys, thank you so much for tuning in today. I appreciate you guys. I wanted to make this quick. Ended up being a little bit over an hour, but we end up having those type of conversations. So it is what it is at the end of the day. Just wanted to briefly get that out here. So thank you so much for tuning in, guys. Thank you for pulling up to the stream. And let me check this right now. Seahawks Cardinals. I might stream that just so we can watch McDonald's defense and see what happens there. So you may see me tomorrow for Thursday Night Football. We'll see. But that being said, guys, take care. Good night. I'll see you later. Be sure to stay safe and peace out.